Chapter 1. A Kingdom at the Bottom of the Ocean. Far off in the ocean, where the water is deep and the floor teems with life, there stood a sea king's castle, made of shells, coral and amber, shimmering in the water. The sea king lived with his mother and his 6 lovely daughters. They all had beautiful tails and swam about, frolicking with the fish in the castle's gardens. The girls remained underwater until their 15th birthday, when they were allowed to go up to the surface. Pearl, the youngest daughter, waited impatiently as her sisters each got to see the world of humans above. Finally, on the day she turned 15, the beautiful siren rose like a bubble to the top. Her head broke the surface at sunset, and she spied a huge ship filled with people celebrating a young prince's birthday. She watched, entranced by the beauty of this prince, who was so like her, yet so very different. Chapter 2. An Impossible Love. Before Pearl knew what was happening, a huge storm approached the great ship. She watched, unable to help, as the boat was torn in half and began to sink. In a panic, she searched for her prince. It was with relief that the girl finally found the boy, unconscious. She remembered that humans couldn't survive underwater and swam beside him, holding his head above the waves. They floated throughout the night, finally arriving ashore at daybreak. Pearl gently placed the boy upon the white sand, kissed him, and swam back to watch from behind the waves. From afar, she watched as a girl appeared on the beach, ran to her prince, and revived him. Happy in the knowledge that he was safe, Pearl swam back to her father's castle. For months, the girl swam to the land above the sea and searched for her prince, letting her once beautiful garden become overgrown. He had disappeared, unaware of who had actually saved him. Pearl's wise grandmother, seeing her unhappiness, warned her, "Humans are different from us, child. They don't live as long as we do, but when they go, their souls live on forever, immortal." Chapter 3. The Witch's Spell. That night, the mermaids and mermen held a huge ball at the king's castle. They sang a lovely siren song. The little mermaid's voice rang out, the saddest, most beautiful voice they had ever heard. After the ball, the mermaid knew what she must do. She had heard stories of a sea witch who lived deep in the marsh. She would go to her and beg her for help. Through a nasty swamp of snakes and toads and many horrible creatures, Pearl swam. She arrived at a frightening, filthy hut. "I know why you're here," the witch's voice croaked. She told Pearl that she could have graceful human legs. "The humans will find you beautiful, but you will be in pain, and you can never return to the sea," the hag croaked. "Well, I don't want to go back. I want to marry my prince, and I want an immortal soul."
trouble, huh? You'll need the true love of a human for that. But beware, if your prince marries someone other than you, then the morning after the wedding, you will just disappear. You'll turn into foam on the crest of a wave. And for your payment, I'll take your lovely voice.
The sea witch cackled. The old hag hobbled into her hut and stopped before her cauldron. Her wrinkled skin shone green in the murky light, and her thin hair hung in clumps down her back like seaweed. She looked at Pearl, singing her spell.
Toenails to start it off, add spit from a mermaid's cough, blend well with barnacle slime and 2 drops of octopus grime. With this brew, swim to the shore. Once drunk, you'll have a tail no more.
Chapter 4. A Mermaid and Her Prince. So, without a thought for the lovely voice she was giving up, the little mermaid swam to shore, drank the potion, and immediately fainted. When she awoke, she found her handsome prince staring deep into her eyes. He led her back to his castle, where he cared for her, treating her as he would a lovely child. Because he found her on the beach, he called her his foundling. Her new legs hurt her so, but she danced beautifully, enchanting everyone who laid eyes upon her, including the prince. After some time had passed, he told her that he loved her, but that he loved another even more. He explained that a girl, locked away in a convent, had saved him from drowning. Poor mute Pearl sat there, unable to tell him that she was the one who had truly saved his life. One day, the young prince's parents announced that they wished for him to get married immediately to another girl. Pearl was crushed. "If I cannot wed the one who saved my life," the prince told her, "then I would prefer to be with you." He sighed. "But I'll meet the girl, just to please my parents." They boarded a great ship and set sail to meet the young woman. Imagine his surprise when the prince saw whom his parents had chosen for him. Pearl recognized her immediately as being the girl from the beach. The poor mermaid's heart sank as he rushed to take his future bride in his arms. She knew that her prince's heart had gone to another. All was lost. Chapter 5. An Ocean Breeze. The prince was soon married. Devastated, Pearl sat aboard the ship, knowing that the very next morning she would be nothing but sea foam. As tears ran down her cheeks, she looked up, surprised to see her 5 sisters rise from the sea. They called out to her, showing her their short hair and waving a knife. "Don't despair, little sister. We traded our hair for this dagger," they called. "The sea witch promised that if you end the prince's life, you can come back to the sea." Pearl didn't want to turn into sea foam upon the waves, but she knew that she couldn't harm her lovely prince either. Just then, she became quite sure that the ocean held the answer. She threw the dagger into the water and jumped in after it. And instead of bubbling like foam, all of a sudden, she became light, as if warmed by the sun. A voice blew into her ear. "You are now one of us, daughter of the air." She could feel many presences floating around her. "Come, we'll bring love and good cheer to all," another voice whispered, "especially to children." And with that, they were gone. Content at last, Pearl followed them, just a breeze above the sea, bringing happiness to all good little boys and girls.